Listen closely, my friends. You are about to watch the most dangerous video you will ever encounter. Dangerous, not because of what it teaches you. Dangerous because once you understand what we are about to uncover, you will never again be able to unsee it. You will walk into a room differently. You will sit in silence differently. You will look at the people who once terrified you and feel nothing but cold, sovereign clarity. This is not entertainment. This is a complete rewiring of the way you see human behavior. I need you to stop everything right now, because what most people call handling disrespect is nothing more than a glorified performance of weakness, a rehearsed flinch disguised as confidence, a scripted reaction designed by people who never escaped their own emotional chains. And today, for the first time, we are going to dismantle the entire architecture of human psychological warfare, lesson by lesson, using the most brutally effective wisdom ever recorded in human history. We are going back 2,000 years, to battlefields drowned in blood, to slave quarters where men learned to master their minds under chains, to the private journals of emperors who commanded armies of 1,000,000 men, yet still fought the darkest battles inside themselves. Because those men, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, Cato, faced the same thing you face every single day: human cruelty, social manipulation, public humiliation, private betrayal, and they discovered something the modern world still does not understand. Not a comeback, not a clever response, not a temporary strategy to win arguments. They engineered a complete psychological transformation, a state where insults lose their power, where manipulation stops working, where the chaos of other people can no longer enter your mind without your permission. This is the level of control they reached, and it terrified everyone around them. This video is 10 lessons. Each one is a scalpel. Each one cuts deeper than the last. And if you leave before the end, you will carry the wound but none of the cure. So make a decision right now. You either commit fully to this transformation, or you go back to living as a passenger inside someone else's emotional storm. The choice is yours, but choose fast, because the people trying to destroy your peace are already 3 moves ahead. Now, let us begin. Lesson 1. The architecture of insult. Why disrespect is never about you. Before we talk about what to do when someone disrespects you, we need to talk about what is actually happening. Because right now, you have it completely backwards, and this backwards understanding is costing you your peace every single day. Imagine ancient Rome. The year is 161 AD. Marcus Aurelius has just been handed the throne of the most powerful empire in human history. 70 million people, stretching from Scotland to Mesopotamia. He has armies, senators, philosophers and assassins, all circling him simultaneously. And what does this man, the most powerful human being alive, write in his private journal? He writes, "Begin the morning by saying to yourself, I shall meet with the busybody, the ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, unsocial." He was the emperor, and yet he still woke up every morning knowing he would be surrounded by people who would demean him, manipulate him, lie to him, and envy him. The difference between Marcus and every other person in history was not that he avoided disrespect. The difference was that he understood its true origin. Disrespect is never a verdict, it is a symptom. When a doctor sees a patient with a fever, the doctor does not take the fever personally. The doctor understands the fever is a signal, a symptom of an underlying disease. The fever is not about the doctor. The fever is about the patient's internal condition. The moment someone disrespects you, the sarcastic jab, the condescending smirk, the deliberate dismissal, they are not offering you a measured critique of your worth. They are showing you the fever of their internal disease. Epictetus knew this in a way that would shatter most modern minds. Epictetus was born a slave. He was owned by a man named Epictetus, a notoriously cruel master who, according to ancient accounts, once twisted Epictetus's leg for amusement and broke it. And as the bones snapped, Epictetus looked at his master calmly and said, "I told you it would break." No rage, no pleading, no humiliation. Because Epictetus had understood something at the deepest possible level. His master's cruelty was not a statement about Epictetus's worth. It was a confession of his master's poverty, a poverty of character, of humanity, of soul. You've spent 3 weeks preparing a proposal. You walk into the boardroom, you begin presenting, and within 90 seconds your colleague, the one who smiles at you in the hallway every morning, cuts you off, dismisses your data, makes a joke at your expense in front of the entire team. Your face burns, your chest tightens, your mind screams at you to defend yourself. But here is what you do not know in that moment. That colleague went home 2 nights ago to an empty apartment. Their partner left them 6 months ago. They haven't slept well in weeks. They walked into that boardroom carrying the invisible weight of a life that feels like it is collapsing. And you, your confidence, your preparation, your competence, was a mirror that showed them everything they were not. Their insult was not an attack. It was a desperate scream from a drowning person who needed to pull someone else underwater just to feel like they were still breathing. This is not about making excuses for toxic people. This is about liberating yourself from the prison of taking their behavior personally. When you truly internalize that their disrespect is their confession, not your sentence, something remarkable happens. The insult loses its poison mid-flight. It arrives, and you are simply unmoved. Not because you are suppressing anything, but because you genuinely understand, this is not about me. That understanding is the first wall of your inner citadel. Build it now and never let it fall. Lesson 2. The radical power of zero expectation. There is a specific kind of suffering that nobody talks about. It is not the pain of being hurt. It is the pain of being surprised by being hurt. And until you eliminate that surprise, you will always be vulnerable. Epictetus taught what he called the dichotomy of control. But most people who quote this phrase have never understood what it actually demands of you. It does not demand optimism. It does not demand trust. It demands something far more terrifying. It demands zero illusion. In ancient Athens, there lived a philosopher named Diogenes. He was called the dog, not as a compliment. He lived in a ceramic jar in the marketplace. He owned nothing. He performed bodily functions in public to shock the aristocracy. He begged for food. And yet, Alexander the Great, conqueror of the known world, made a special journey to meet him. He stood before this filthy, homeless philosopher and said, "Ask of me anything you desire. I will give it to you." Diogenes looked up at the most powerful military commander in history, and he said, "Stand a little out of my sunlight." Alexander left that meeting reportedly saying, "If I were not Alexander, I would wish to be Diogenes." Why? Because Diogenes had achieved something Alexander, with all his armies and gold, could not buy. Complete immunity to the opinion of other men. Expectation is the raw material from which all disrespect manufactures its power. Every time you walk into a room expecting to be treated with respect, you have handed that room a weapon. Because the moment that expectation is violated, the violation lands not just as rude behavior, but as a rupture of reality, your reality. The reality you constructed and then handed to someone else to maintain. The Stoic solution is not to lower your standards. It is to remove your dependence on others meeting them. You can require excellent behavior from people in your life. You can demand it. You can enforce it through boundaries and consequences. But you cannot attach your internal peace to whether they deliver it. The difference between those two things is everything. You are sitting with people you have known your entire life. You make a comment, and your relative, the one who has been doing this to you since you were a child, mocks you, belittles your achievement, compares you unfavorably to someone else. The reason it destroys you every single time, despite the fact that you have experienced it hundreds of times, is because every single time you walked in with the hope that this time would be different. This time they would see you. This time they would be proud. That hope is not beautiful. That hope is the wound. The Stoic does not walk into that dinner table with hope. The Stoic walks in with clarity, clear eyes, clear expectations. They have already, privately, quietly, accepted the full range of what might happen, and because they have accepted it in advance, nothing that happens at that table can break them. This is not pessimism. This is the highest form of psychological preparation. The Spartan warriors before battle did not sit in their tents and visualize victory. They sat and deliberately meditated on every possible form of loss, every wound, every defeat, every death, so that when battle came, nothing could shock them, nothing could paralyze them. They had already made peace with the worst. Practice this tonight. Before any interaction that holds the potential for disrespect, in your mind, quietly accept the worst possible version of that interaction, not to be crushed by it, to be immunized from it. That is the architecture of zero expectation, and it is one of the most powerful structures a human mind can build. Lesson 3. The weapon that destroys without a single word. Every weapon you have ever been taught to use against disrespect is a loud weapon, a comeback, a defense, an explanation, a retaliation. And here is the ugly truth about every loud weapon: it announces your wound. The most lethal weapon in human psychological history makes no sound at all. Marcus Aurelius Cato, known to history simply as Cato, was perhaps the most feared man in the Roman Senate. Not because of his military record, not because of his wealth, but because of a single discipline that made him virtually untouchable in political combat. He almost never responded immediately. When Julius Caesar, the most brilliant political mind of the ancient world, attempted to publicly humiliate Cato on the floor of the Senate, Cato looked at him, said nothing. And then, when the entire chamber was leaning in, waiting for the explosion, he calmly returned to the matter at hand. Caesar, who had reduced armies to rubble, did not know what to do with silence. No one does. Silence is not the absence of a response. Silence is the response, and it is the only one that cannot be weaponized against you. When you speak in anger, you give the other person your words to dissect, distort, and turn against you. When you explain yourself in desperation, you hand them a map of your vulnerabilities. When you lash back, you confirm that their weapon found its target. But when you are silent, genuinely, serenely unperturbed in your silence, you give them nothing, and nothing is everything. Imagine you are at a social event. Someone makes a cutting remark about you in front of a group. Everyone turns to watch your reaction. The disrespectful person is already smiling because they know the next few seconds belong to them. In that moment, most people make one of two catastrophic errors. They erupt. They say something cutting back, and the room watches two people exchange venom, and everyone goes home talking about the fight. Or they laugh it off nervously, collapse inward, say, "Haha, yeah, you're right," and spend the next 3 days replaying the moment, wishing they had said something different. The third path, the Stoic path, is one neither of them saw coming. You hold their gaze for exactly 2 seconds longer than is comfortable, not glaring, not smiling, just looking, with the calm, clinical detachment of someone observing something mildly interesting. And then you continue with whatever you were doing before they spoke. No reaction, no acknowledgement, no fuel. The room watches, and something shifts. Because in that silence, it becomes clear to everyone present that the person who made the remark was trying to pull a lever. And the lever is not connected to anything. Cato once said, "I begin to speak only when I am certain what I will say is better than silence." Measure every future response against that standard. Most of what we say in moments of conflict does not clear that bar. And when it does not, close your mouth. Let the silence work. The room always fills the vacuum, and the disrespectful person will always fill it worse than you ever could. Lesson 4. The psychological sentence that ends every attack. We have been building to this. Everything in the previous 3 lessons, understanding the origin of disrespect, eliminating expectation, mastering silence, has been preparation for this single weapon. One sentence, forged in Stoic philosophy, tested across 2 millennia of human conflict. Are you ready? Because this will change how you move through the world forever. In Marcus Aurelius's private journal, The Meditations, he wrote something that most scholars overlook because it sounds deceptively simple. He wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own." That last phrase is the key, a nature related to my own. Marcus, emperor, philosopher, general, looked at the people who disrespected him and said, "You are made of the same material I am. You are suffering the same fundamental human condition I am. The difference between us is not what we are. It is what we have chosen to do with what we are." From this position, seeing the shared humanity of even the most toxic person, a question emerges that is not confrontational. It is not retaliatory. It is devastatingly clear. When someone disrespects you, after the pause, after the silence, you look at them with calm, level eyes, and you ask, "Are you hoping for a reaction from me?" Let us break down exactly why this is psychologically annihilating for a toxic person. First, it is a mirror. In one sentence, you have dragged their unconscious tactic into full, blinding light. The manipulator operates in subtext. They rely on plausible deniability. "I was just joking." "You're too sensitive." Your question removes the subtext entirely. You have named the game, out loud, in front of witnesses. Second, it is unemotional. You did not snap. You did not plead. You did not defend. You asked a question with the calm of someone who is genuinely, clinically curious. This is catastrophic for the aggressor because their entire plan depended on triggering emotion. You gave them none. Third, it is unanswerable. If they say yes, they have admitted to deliberate manipulation. If they say no, you have still publicly demonstrated that you saw through them. Either path leads to the same outcome, their exposure and your elevation. Your manager makes a belittling comment about your work in front of the team. Everyone holds their breath. You put your pen down. You look at your manager with the quiet focus of someone who is about to say something very precise. "Are you hoping for a reaction from me?" Dead silence. Your manager blinks, stammers, says something like, "No, it was just feedback." "Understood," you say, and you return to your notes. In 11 words, you have shifted every power dynamic in that room, not through aggression, through absolute, unshakable clarity. Practice this sentence until it is in your muscle memory, until the moment disrespect arrives, your body knows the response before your mind has to reach for it. This is not a trick. This is not a manipulation. This is a Stoic mirror, returning reality to the person who tried to distort it. Lesson 5. Why anger is the most expensive luxury you cannot afford. You have been lied to about anger your entire life. You were told it is strength. You were shown it as power. Movies celebrate the man who flips the table. Songs worship the woman who burns it all down. But the Stoics, who had more direct experience with power than anyone who has ever made a Hollywood film, called anger something else entirely. They called it a brief madness. Seneca the Younger was advisor to Emperor Nero, arguably the most dangerous, unstable and violent ruler in Roman history. To work for Nero was to understand that a single moment of unguarded emotion could mean your execution. Seneca lived every day of his professional life in a room with a man who could kill him for the wrong expression. And from that lived experience, Seneca wrote the most comprehensive analysis of anger ever produced, a treatise called De Ira, on anger. His conclusion, after decades of observation: anger is most harmful to itself, not to the target, to the person experiencing it. Every moment you spend in anger about someone else's behavior is a moment you have handed them, for free, the management of your mind. Think about what anger actually costs you. Physiologically, cortisol floods your system. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational decision-making, goes partially offline. Your vision narrows. Your memory becomes selective. You lose access to your own intelligence at the exact moment you most need it. Psychologically, you replay the incident. You rehearse comebacks in the shower. You narrate the injustice to friends who did not ask. You carry the other person in your mind like a tenant who pays no rent and destroys the furniture. Seneca asked, "What is more shameful than a wise man depending on the moods of fools?" When you are angry at someone who disrespected you, you are not punishing them. You are imprisoning yourself in the wound they inflicted and paying for the cell yourself. Someone you trusted, a colleague, a friend, a partner, says something about you behind your back. It reaches you through a third party. It is cruel, it is untrue, and it has been said to people whose opinion you value. The rage is immediate and volcanic. Here is what Seneca would say to you in this moment. You are about to make a second mistake that is worse than their first one. Their betrayal was their wound, their insecurity, their smallness, their inability to tolerate your light. But your rage, if you let it govern your response, will compound their small attack into a prolonged campaign that damages you far more than them. The Stoic response is clinical, not cold, clinical. You observe the betrayal the way a surgeon observes a scan. There is the damage. Here is what it affects. This is the appropriate response, not with fire, with precision. The next time you feel the heat of anger rising in response to disrespect, do not suppress it. Acknowledge it. Name it. I am feeling anger. This anger is information, not instruction. The anger tells you that something important was violated, but it does not get to dictate how you respond. That choice belongs entirely to you. Take it back, every single time. Lesson 6. How to build a self-worth that no human being can reach. We need to talk about the real reason insults hurt, not the surface reason, the real one. Because until you address it, no sentence, no technique, no philosophy will give you lasting immunity. You will keep healing and re-wounding in the same cycle. In ancient China, there was a philosophical concept known as the uncarved block, the pew. The idea was that wood in its natural, uncarved state contained infinite potential. The moment you carved it into a shape, you defined it, you limited it. And more dangerously, you made it dependent on whether other people approved of the shape you chose. Marcus Aurelius understood this. In the Meditations, he returned again and again to the same question. Who am I when no one is watching? When there is no audience, no applause, no criticism? What remains? His answer was this. Your worth is not carved by the opinions of other men. It is carved by the choices you make in private. The discipline you maintain in silence. The integrity you hold when holding it costs you something. An insult can only wound you in a place you have not yet fortified. When someone calls you incompetent and you lie awake at night tormented by it, they did not create that wound. They found a wound that was already there. A doubt you held about yourself, a fear you had not yet examined, an empty space in your self-knowledge that their words rushed to fill. This is not a criticism, this is a gift of information. Every insult that keeps you awake is a map. It is showing you exactly where your inner citadel still has exposed walls. You create something, a business, a piece of art, an idea, and you put it into the world, and someone with a platform tears it apart. Publicly, with contempt, and people engage with the contempt. They like it, they share it. Most creators collapse, they delete, they retreat, they spiral into self-doubt that can last years. But the Stoic creator does something different. They ask, is what they said true? If yes, this is the most valuable free feedback you will ever receive. It is painful, but it is data. Use it. If no, then the criticism is not about your work. It is about the critic, and the critic's internal condition is not your creative problem to solve. In both cases, you continue, because your reason for creating was never their approval. If it was, you were already building on sand. Start building the Iron Garden today, not tomorrow. Today. Tonight. Take 10 minutes and write down 3 things you did today that you are genuinely, privately proud of. That no one saw, no one praised, no one validated. 3 moments where you chose to act with integrity, discipline, or courage when it would have been easier not to. Do this every night for 30 days. At the end of 30 days, you will have built something that no human insult can reach, because it was built in the private dark, where no one's opinion could touch the foundation. That is the iron garden. Plant it, water it, and watch what happens when someone tries to pull a weed. Lesson 7. Performing at your highest while being attacked. Everything we have built so far has been internal: mental armor, philosophical immunity, the ability to not be broken. But there is a next level that very few people ever reach, and it is this: the ability to perform at your absolute best in the middle of being attacked. In the Roman Colosseum, the greatest gladiators were not distinguished by their strength. They were distinguished by their ability to fight with complete technical precision in the moment when the crowd was screaming for their death, when their opponent was pressing the attack, when the sand was soaked with their own blood. The Stoics called this state of total detached focus apatheia. But this word has been catastrophically mistranslated into English as apathy. Apatheia does not mean not caring. It means freedom from being controlled by your passions in any given moment, including fear, anger, and desperation. It means you can be fully in the fight, fully engaged with what matters, while being completely uncaptured by the emotional chaos surrounding it. The most elite version of any human performance happens in the precise space between stimulus and response. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived 4 Nazi concentration camps, wrote something that aligned perfectly with Stoic philosophy without him intending to. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. When someone disrespects you in a high-stakes moment, a negotiation, a public presentation, a critical conversation, they are trying to shrink that space to zero. They want stimulus to become response instantly. They want you to react before you think. Your discipline, forged through everything we have discussed, is what preserves that space. And inside that space, you do not just survive the attack, you use it. You are in a high-stakes business negotiation. The other party is experienced and has decided that the most effective strategy is to undermine your confidence before the real discussion begins. They arrive late. They make a cutting remark about your company. They question your authority to be in the room. Every instinct says, defend yourself, prove yourself, explain yourself. The Stoic gladiator does the opposite. They slow down. They breathe. They let the ambush land, and they observe it with clinical detachment. Interesting. They are attempting to destabilize me before we begin. This tells me they are more concerned about the outcome than they are appearing. That is information. That is power. And then, from the perfectly preserved space between stimulus and response, they make their opening move. Not reactive, strategic, not emotional. Precise. The attacker expected to find a person off balance. They found someone standing on bedrock. Train this space the way athletes train their bodies, deliberately, systematically. Every day you will encounter small moments where someone tries to shrink your response time. A curt email, a dismissive comment, a passive-aggressive text. Practice expanding the space in these small moments. Take the 3 seconds, breathe, observe, choose. Because when the high-stakes moment comes, and it will, your space will be wide enough to build an entire strategy inside it. Lesson 8. The slow, devastating consequence that changes everything. So far, we have been talking about the immediate moment of disrespect. What to think, what to feel, what to say. But the Stoics understood that true self-respect is not just a moment-to-moment discipline, it is a long-term strategy. And the most powerful move in that long-term strategy is one that most people never even consider. In the ancient world, one of the most severe punishments that could be administered was not physical, it was social. The Greeks called it atimia, dishonor. You were not harmed, you were not imprisoned, you were simply excluded. removed from the warmth of human community. Your presence was no longer acknowledged, your voice no longer carried. The Stoics understood that access to your presence, your attention, your energy, your warmth, your humor, your time, is the most valuable currency you possess. And like any currency, it must be managed with absolute precision. You do not need to punish people who disrespect you. You simply need to price them out. Most people, when they are chronically disrespected, respond with one of two extremes. They explode, delivering dramatic ultimatums and emotional confrontations that give the other person enormous power over their narrative. Or they silently endure, continuing to offer full access to their energy while internally deteriorating. The Stoic third path is neither of these. It is the quiet, methodical withdrawal of light. No announcement, no drama, no speech. You simply, over time, reduce the aperture. Shorter responses, less personal information volunteered, less warmth in your tone, less of your genuine presence in shared spaces. You become, as the Stoics would say, a grey rock, not hostile, not cold in a way that can be named and called out. Simply less available, less accessible, less nourishing. There is someone in your life, perhaps a long-term friend, a family member, a co-worker, who has a pattern. Every time you share good news, they find the shadow in it. Every time you are vulnerable, they file it away and use it later. Every time you succeed, they quietly diminish it. You have excused it, explained it to yourself, decided they don't mean it that way. But the pattern has continued for years, and each time it happens, a small piece of your trust, your genuine self, retreats slightly further from their reach. The Stoic response is to honor that retreat rather than fight it. Your soul already knows who is safe to be around. The chronic underminer has already been assessed by the most honest part of you. The task is simply to allow your behavior to align with what you already know. Pull back the investment, slowly, quietly, without malice, and reallocate that energy to relationships where it is genuinely received. This is not revenge. This is resource management. Your attention, your time, your emotional energy, these are finite. They must be stewarded with the same intelligence you would apply to any scarce and precious resource. People who respect you will have access to all of it. People who repeatedly demonstrate contempt will find, quietly and without drama, that the supply has dried up. And when they notice, and they always notice, you will not need to say a word. The message will already have been received. Lesson 9. Loving your enemy without becoming their servant. This is the lesson most people are not ready for, not because it is complex, because it requires you to be bigger than everything that has ever hurt you. This is the Stoic summit, and very few people ever reach it. Marcus Aurelius returned over and over again in his private journals to one of the most radical ideas in Western philosophical history, an idea that even most Stoic scholars do not fully emphasize. He wrote, "It is peculiar to man to love even those who do wrong. And this happens if only you reflect that they are your brothers and that they act through ignorance and unwillingly." Marcus Aurelius, who had been lied to by senators, betrayed by generals, manipulated by political rivals for decades, was writing about loving them, not as weakness, not as doormat spirituality, not as a performance of virtue, as a deliberate, strategic choice to refuse the corruption that hatred offers. Hatred is not a weapon you aim at other people, it is a poison you drink yourself. When you carry active hatred for someone who has disrespected you, they live in your mind rent-free. You rehearse arguments with them in the shower. You craft the perfect takedown at 2 a.m. You filter your decisions through the lens of what would hurt them most. And while you are doing all of this, they are sleeping. They are living their life. They have moved on to their next victim and left you holding the burning residue of an interaction they barely remember. Every moment of genuine hatred you carry is a moment you have subtracted from your own life to enrich theirs. Scenario: the profound betrayal. Someone you loved, not just liked, but genuinely loved, betrayed you in a way that rearranged your understanding of who you were. a deep, fundamental betrayal that cost you years of rebuilding. The idea of extending anything resembling love or even neutral goodwill toward this person feels physically repulsive. Here is what Marcus would say: you are not extending warmth to them, you are extending it to yourself. The moment you genuinely release, not excuse, not forget, but release the need to maintain active resentment, you recover the enormous psychic energy that was being spent on the maintenance of that wound. You do not have to like them. You do not have to be near them. You do not have to trust them ever again. Wisdom demands none of those things, but the active cultivation of hatred, the daily tending of that fire. That is a cost only you are paying. The Stoic resolution is not forgiveness as most people understand it. It is something more precise, the recognition that the person who hurt you was, in that moment, acting from the deepest poverty of their nature. They could not do otherwise than they did. Not because you excuse it, but because you understand that character is destiny, and their character produced exactly the outcome it was always going to produce. You see them clearly, without illusion, without hatred, and you step out of the story they are living and back into your own. That is the summit. That is where Marcus lived, and it is available to you. Lesson 10. Building a reality so full that disrespect becomes irrelevant. Every lesson in this video has been about defending something, protecting your peace, guarding your energy, holding your dignity, and all of that is essential. But we are ending somewhere different. We are ending where Marcus Aurelius himself always returned, not to the battlefield, but to the purpose. Because the ultimate answer to disrespect is not a better defense. It is a life so consumed by meaning that there is simply no room left for the wound. In 167 AD, while Marcus Aurelius was fighting the Marcomannic Wars on the northern frontier of the empire, simultaneously managing a plague that was killing thousands, a corrupt senate, a military rebellion, and the slow personal grief of losing several of his children, he wrote in his journal, "Confine yourself to the present. 2,000 years later, that is still the most radical productivity system ever written. Not manage your time, not optimize your workflow, not deal with the disrespect later. Confine yourself to the present, to what is in front of you, to the work that your highest self is called to do, right now." A person fully consumed by their purpose has no psychological vacancy for the opinions of their critics. Think about the greatest creators, builders, warriors, and philosophers in history, the ones who changed the world. Were they free of critics? Not at all. Socrates was executed by his critics. Galileo was imprisoned by his. Lincoln was despised and mocked by half the nation he was trying to save. What made them untouchable was not that they learned to handle the criticism better. It was that the work, the mission, the purpose, the thing they were built to do, was simply bigger than the noise. The criticism could not compete for mental space with the purpose, because the purpose occupied everything. Picture the version of you that exists 5 years from now. If you fully commit to everything in this video, you have built your inner citadel. You understand the origin of disrespect. You have mastered the pause, the mirror question, the silence. You have withdrawn your energy from environments that do not value it. You have released your hatred. You have built your self-worth from the inside. Now picture that version of you walking into any room. When someone makes a cutting remark, you hear it the way a mountain hears wind. You register it, you understand it, and you continue, unmoved. Not because you have trained yourself into emotional numbness, but because the wind does not matter to the mountain. The mountain has deeper business. You have deeper business. Your purpose, whatever it is, however clearly or unclearly you can currently see it, is the final and most complete answer to disrespect. Because purpose creates gravity. It pulls you forward even when every social force is trying to hold you back. It gives you a reason to get up from the wreckage that is more powerful than any wound. The Stoics did not merely teach philosophy. They lived it in the most brutal, high-stakes arenas of human experience. and the common thread across every one of them, the emperor, the slave, the statesman, the soldier, was this: they knew what they were for, and nothing could redirect them from it. Find what you are for, pursue it with everything you have, and watch how quickly the people who tried to reduce you become irrelevant, not through any action of yours, but simply because you have moved so far beyond the reach of their smallness that they cannot see you anymore. That is sovereignty. That is the Stoic life, and it has been waiting for you the entire time. You stayed. Most people did not. Most people clicked away in the first 2 minutes looking for a shortcut, a hack, a 30-second fix for a wound that took years to cut that deep. But you stayed, and that tells me something important about who you are. You are not looking for a trick. You are looking for a transformation. And transformation, real transformation, the kind that permanently rewires how you move through the world, is exactly what you have begun today. Not completed. Begun. Because these 10 lessons are not a one-time viewing, they are a practice, they are a philosophy, they are a way of being that you will have to choose again and again in the moments when choosing it costs you something. The moments in the meeting room, at the dinner table, in the negotiation, in the aftermath of betrayal, in the 2 a.m. silence when the wound still burns. In every one of those moments, you now have something you did not have before, a framework, a language, a practice, and the knowledge that the greatest, most battle-tested minds in human history chose this path and became untouchable. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, Cato, Diogenes. They are not legends because they were never hurt. They are legends because they refuse to be defined by it. Now it is your turn. Go build your citadel, go plant your iron garden, go confine yourself to the present, to the purpose, to the work that only you were built to do. And the next time someone tries to disrespect you, let them. Let them try. Let them exhaust themselves against walls they cannot see. You will already be gone, already building, already free. I will see you in the next one. Stay sovereign.